esta ki was kampea pi esta wa ma pe faksita ki we mio asan de natte me kota askina Papa mas ko sega so no tawai pas ko mas to sawas lekta ni utsia nas ko mem ste esta wa to pe pite we kota askina nota I thank you. My name is a white bear, and my father was Buffalo Child. That's where I come from. And I thank you for coming here to our land. And I look around and I'm amazed at the gifts of knowledge that's around here. It's like a rainbow. And that's so important to be able to have a vehicle, a place to be able to meet like this. To laugh and share. And we talk about reaffirming our spirits and reaffirming our beliefs. It's like when I look at Willie's grandfather and my grandfather worked together. Late Teresa Wildcat said they did a good job because you guys worked together now. You guys picked up where your grandfathers left off. And I'm using that as well as when I look at the Tatusis, the Pelche, the Snows. They did a good job because their children are sitting here now. The chairs aren't empty. You've taken that challenge and sit in those chairs. Everything is based on our lives at home. We talk about nationhood. Talk about all these, the world part of it, but it really, when we look at it, the home base, the home fire is what it's all about. I've traveled so many miles with my father and with Willie and different other people, and I've seen some home fires left cold. When that elder is left, that chair is empty. No one took that challenge. There was a family that had their father died, and all the adult sons, no, not one of them was able to take his pipe because nobody knew what to do with it. Nobody could take it, and so that pipe was handed to another family. Where I'm going with this is it's so important to have our children with us. So many times I was dragged around the country with my father, and I sat there going, man, this is boring. And then once I got beyond that and I started to listen and I started to realize it wasn't so boring. And I started to understand at an early age the importance of spirituality. I remember when I was in Vancouver Island, at that time the Native Brotherhood had put on this huge conference. And we had lots of food there. Holy smokes, there was a lot of food there. There was a feast that happened. And all these great politicians were supposed to come. One chief showed up. And George Maniel showed up. My father showed up and I showed up. And I'm sitting there going, I told my dad in Cree, I said, what are we going to do with all this food? He says, we'll call the animals. I said, okay. So he does his prayer and the birds start coming in. The eagles, all these different kinds of birds came there. It was amazing. The fish would jump, it was beside the ocean, the fish were jumping in the water. He says, serve the humans and then serve the animals, the birds. I said, okay. So I did that. And I watched this. I was amazed. I just watched to see which bird was going to eat without being told it's okay. Not one bird ate. They all just stood there watching. Then when my dad said, meat so, means eat in our language. everybody started eating. And even the water, even in the ocean, was just the food was sitting there, and the fish started jumping. And then he stood up, and those birds came at him. And they went around him. He went like this, and they flew to the sky. I was so amazed at that, because I was sitting there watching this. Then my dad says, the whales are going to come, but they're kind of shy. And I started laughing and said, by this time I'd believe anything you'd say. The conference has done so much for so many people over the years. When I travel over this land, I still hear people say, I remember going there as a child, or as a young person. I remember going there and listening, sitting under the arbor. And that's something that's so important. So many people have changed their lives. There's life changers that happen there. And that was created for them. Some people even found wives and husbands there. Some left some. But I remember my most amazing memory is that one night there was 10,000 fires of all the people from all over the world. The Inuits are up there, the Denes, the Navajos, the Mohawks, Mike Mitchell and his group came that time. The Ecumenical people, all the different tribes were there. It was amazing to see that. One of the things that happened is that late John Snow invited us, and we came. He fed us. The people fed us. They cooked for us. Remember those long lineups? It was amazing. But I remember one time we had killed a buffalo. The Stoney people, the Nakota people, let us kill a buffalo to feed the people. And this one time, this buffalo was there. The cow was on the ground. She was laying there, and this bull come out, rushing at us. There's young people with headbands and everything. And they were all hiding behind these little trees, and I told them, you can't, that's not going to work, guys. Maybe I find big trees. So my dad said, wait. And he walked up, that bull and hit that cow, trying to get her up. And then he'd drink her blood, and he'd bellow. Then he stood on top of her. And then the old man would walk up like this. And he stood under that bull. That bull is standing on that cow like this. He was carrying a conversation out with that bull, that buffalo bull. And then the bull stepped down. He hit the cow one last time, and he started walking away. You could tell he was sad. Then walking back to the herd. Then he says, stump. So I went over there, I cut the jugular, I put a pail under there. And he prayed. And I said, what did you say to that? What did you say to that guy? He said to him, he said, I told him, in the beginning of time, your people gave yourselves to our people. He says, we are still living like that. He says, we took your mate's life. We will honor her. We will not waste nothing. We are only following the natural law and the natural promise that you gave to us. And so he prayed. And all these guys, these young guys with headbands, and he says, okay, it's time to drink. And they realized there was blood, and then they went all running away. And these make-believe Indians really pissed me off, he said. They're Indian until it gets tough. He said. And I knew right away what was going to happen. I was kind of itching away myself. He said, Rick, come here. You represent the people. You drink this. I don't want to represent the people. So I prayed and I drank that. There's so many teachings in that story. And so I seen that. I experienced those. There's so many stories I could share with you. It would take a week of the amazing things I've seen, experienced. But I want to share something really, talk about, we need to look for the ceremonies for our young people again. The young woman's ceremony. Our young girls are getting pregnant as young as 12 and 13 years old. I was in sweat the other day for this, to make this, to pray and have the Creator protect us. And something came in there that was amazing. Today, for a young man to be a warrior, it's now moved up to 23, 25. Today, for a young woman to be a woman, it's moved the other way. Young women now are becoming women at 9 and 8 and 9 and 10 years old. This has happened, that it's moving this way. Us men, young men are not maturing enough to be warriors no more. At one time they were 16, you were a warrior. Today, I see young boys, 20, 21, playing video games, and you tell them, go hunt for us so we can eat. They wouldn't know what to do. That's changed. That's happening. I've seen that. We need to bring those ceremonies back so that the young woman can learn to be a woman, the laws of the woman. Because my dad shared a story. He said he met this spirit that was wandering around. She's one of the first women that was on this earth. She had done something wrong and she was paying for that. She wandered on the earth, and I thought, and I always remember that story because I think, what could she have done so bad in that time compared to what our women are doing today? Why is child welfare so full of our children? The laws of life, the woman's laws are stronger than ours because you have the gift of life. But also you have, with everything, with every great gift comes great responsibility. And the women need to know those things. These young girls need to know those things. They need to know that so that they don't, if you're going to have a child, if you're going to make that decision to have a child, you have to know what that goes with that. And on the flip side, the young men, they need to realize, one thing my father said, if you make a child, he said, you be there for that child till the end. The beginning to the end. Doesn't matter what happens. It's okay. And I've kept my commitment. With my wife Inez, I fasted for my children so she would have a good pregnancy. And that's something young men should do that. Fathers should do that. fast for their wife so she can have a better pregnancy. Take that responsibility. 4 days of suffering compared to 9 months, it's a no-brainer. I'd rather do 4 days and 9 months personally. I respect women like that because they have that power to carry that child. As men today, we don't know. Young men don't know their laws. They don't know their responsibilities. We're supposed to be protectors. The women represent the Creator. They bring life into this world. We are supposed to protect them. When we leave this earth, we will be questioned. We will be asked, what did you do with those gifts? What did you do with that wife? And you can't lie. You will have to tell the truth. Young men need to know that. Those ceremonies, all the tribes have those. But are they being practiced? As elders, you need to ask that question when you get home and say, we need to bring these back so our youth can be more stronger. And that's something that's so important in our lives, is that spirituality is a reality today. It's not something we talk about out there. It's here today. I asked my wife one time, I wonder when that guy's up on a pulpit and he's talking about God. Now and then he talks about the devil. I wonder if he really believes that. Or is it just a book he read? Or that's a belief that he showed that he follows? Because I know the devil is real. I've seen him. I've seen what he's done. I was asked to go to meet with the Mormons, their president, their higher upper guy, and to speak with their high council. And I'm not Mormon. I didn't know why they asked for me, but they asked me, so I went there. And they were really in turmoil because of their native people are having demonic encounters, and they're not sure what to do about it. And I said, well, welcome to our world, because it's happening with our people. At one time, there was the elders in my community would get up in the morning and sing and pray at sunrise. And I asked my father that time, why do you do that? First of all, why do you wake me up and make me sit out here with you? Because you'll see what we're doing, he said. So I watched him do that. And I said, all of us here, he said, I'm not the only one. We keep the dark side out of our community. Well, today, those elders have gone, those grandfathers. I shouldn't call them elders. This one man said, I'm not an elder. Some young man called me an elder. He said, I'm not even Mormon. He said, I'm a Musso. I'm a Numusso. Call me that. I've earned that right. Don't give me that English name. He says, own me. That's another thing we need to start calling ourselves by the name, who we are. Instead of accepting elders. You guys are not elders. You guys have earned the right to be Numusso. And however you say grandfather and grandmother in your language, that's who you are. You're not elders. You've earned that right. Don't give it away. Don't let anybody say, don't call me elder. This is the proper way in my language. Let us know let them know what to call you. We have to start taking that back. We can't just be generalized anymore. We need to be able to understand that. I want many people have been pushed forward. I have 2 great-granddaughters. I have 29 grandchildren. I never realized I'm rich that way, but I'm also, it's something I never realized is the responsibility of being a grandfather. I thought I could sleep when all my kids grew up. Boy, did I find out that's different when my grandchildren came up. And that's something that's important. We need to belong to each other some more. We need to regain our fires. We need to have our children around it. We need to promote that in our country. We can't keep blaming the white person. We got to start taking blame for ourselves. We can blame the church. We can blame residential school. But what are we doing to deal with that? I'm a third generation residential. My grandfather, my mother, myself. That should. If my wife would have known that, that's a sign saying I'm really screwed up. But I worked through that. My wife's family was residential as well. So we said we got to change that. And what Willie had said, we need to bring that word love. Because that was taken away from us. We never heard that word. And that's something that I tell my children every day, and my grandchildren. And that's something that's part of changing, taking responsibility for ourselves, and moving ahead. But we also, going back, we have to understand there are things in our communities that are not natural to our people. These demonic things that are showing up in our community. Those are real. I had 27 people in my domestic violence workshop, and all 27 of those people had first-hand encounters. Not somebody's story, but it was theirs. That blew me out of the water. I couldn't believe it. I was really shocked because it scared me, because it's there. He's in our community. Can we call AFN? Can we do something about this? Is this a political thing? Politicians are not going to bother that. It's too real. It's something us people have to deal with. It's in our communities. And it's not after us. They had our shot at us. It's after our children. It's after our grandchildren. And it's real. Al Pacino said that. The greatest trick the devil ever he pulled was getting everybody to believe that he did not exist. If we believe in God, we know he's real. And the devil's at the end, oh, if you're bad, the devil's here. He gets a small little blurb in church. God's got the big thing. But then the reality is, he's no longer this much. He's getting bigger. Even the churches are starting to realize that now. He's getting real. And he's gaining power in our communities. And I see that. Take that home to your communities, because it's real. If you were to go into your community and ask the youth, what do you see? How did you experience and you shared with you? It'd be amazing. In New Brunswick, I was over there. These young people, like 14, 15 years old, started playing with this book. They drew the circle in this old house, and they thought it was fooling around. Well, actually, the devil came. And he says, you guys are mine. I'm going to claim you. There's a road that where three of these young people hung themselves. And there was that other tree, this young boy said, that tree is my tree. It's my turn. I went, wow. When I was coming home, the mother didn't even know me. She's knocking on the van. I was driving. She says, take my daughter, save her, keep her away from here. I believe it now. See, these young people told the elders, told the people there, this is happening, and nobody believed them. Eventually, they start to believe after the third death. Then they start getting scared for those other 4 children that were there. See, our youth are telling us things and we're not believing them. We can't handle the truth. We need to understand it. It's real. And that's something that I wanted to share with you, because from the West, it's not only us, it's all our communities. I was up in northern Manitoba, Shamattawa. Wow, that's a scary place. The only time the church goes up there is for funerals and weddings. Otherwise, those people have been scared of their own people. They believe that the church scared those people not to smudge is bad. It's not to do those things is bad. But yet the church has left those people up in Shamattawa. And let me tell you, it's a scary place up there. So we need to start coming back and understand that this guy is real. If that, I know all of you will share other messages, but this thing it's getting scary. It's becoming more realer. Last story I'll share with you really quick was, there's some prints I hang outside my house in the corner. And my boy said, "You better come look at this, Dad." So I went there, and those prints were something when this claws went like this to those prints like this. Animals didn't do it, and humans didn't do it. Those things were just shredded like that. I've never seen anything like that before. I know there's something out there. The youth have told me this, and I tell them, the first thing I say is, "I believe you." And some of them cry because they've been trying to tell their parents and anybody, but nobody believes them. But I tell them, "I believe you because I've seen that. I've had that experience." So that's what we need to ask. It's okay. It's great we pray to God. It's great we do that stuff. But we also got to realize it's a battle that's out there with our youth. And we need to understand that. It's in the homes, in the crack houses, and all of those different houses of darkness. But those things are real. But I know it's not the message you guys were thinking I was going to bring, but it's an important one. Listen to your youth. Give them the tools to be stronger. Do those ceremonies of coming of age ceremonies in your communities. Bring those back. Make them stronger. So they'll be strong men and strong women. Strong fathers and strong mothers. But believe what they tell you. It's not their imagination. It's all real stuff. So naskum tan mstehe naskum nimstehe wasgam of the api ekistawa. Ista be paksita kigo mi as be not to make one my giweta kigo. The basic to the Hai.